So yeah, my name is Dirk Lueth. I'm co-founder and co-CEO of Upland. I don't know if the audience here has heard about Upland. I'm based here in Silicon Valley. I am an entrepreneur, and I have also, like most of the audience here, also two boys in your age, 19 now and 21. I have started so far actually 5 companies in my life, 2 in Germany and then 3 here in the US. And my latest gig is Upland. And we do have actually, I'm going to share all that in the presentation now. So let's get right into it. Hopefully, just you see the first slide, right? The spinning globe. Calvin, just confirm. Okay. And now I'm going to the next slide. So you see the disclaimer. Does it work? Okay, just make sure that everything's fine. All right, awesome. So, okay, all right. So, because I think it's not just about Upland and OMA 3, what I'm doing, and I'm going to come to that a little bit, but it's also about the entrepreneurial, journey, what we do. And, coming from Germany, I have to say there's a German famous philosopher, and his name is Schopenhauer, right? And he says, when you want to become an entrepreneur, actually, you have to actually go what is called through the truth hype cycle, okay? So, and he says, everything, and it's very valid also for startups, right? It always goes through these 3 phases or stages, right? So when you have an idea as a startup entrepreneur, right? People will laugh at you, right? Oh, what a stupid idea, right? Nobody's going to use your product, and how could you, and all that, right? So it's really, people are making fun of you, right? Remember maybe when Twitter came around, right? Today it's called X, right? People said, who's going to post, a few characters just to see that what I'm doing right now. As you can all know, Twitter, I remember that very well, right? Is a big success today, X, that's as such, right? So, but then the second phase comes, right? Then all of a sudden you have a little bit of success, and then, but then people say, wait a minute, no, we don't do this here. You cannot do this, right? So you actually have to fight against people, right? So no. And we have seen that in the past, right? So very early, most of you weren't born then, right? 1995, when people said, oh, the web is never going to work. What is the web, right? Then 2002, people said Google is going to fail, right? And iPhone is going to fail, Facebook's going to fail, right? So you always had those headlines, right? So in the news, and that's somehow of opposing. And I'm working very much in the blockchain and Web3 space, right? And we also are being opposed right now. So in the sense of, oh, this is all scammers, these are all bad people, right? And you probably heard about the FTX scandal. Oh, you put them all in the same drawer, right? Which is obviously not true. But this is some kind of, where people are against you, right? But then you come actually into the third phase, right? When all of a sudden you're successful, then everyone wants to be part of your success. And they said, oh, you know what? I always told you so. This is going to work out. Yeah, sure, right? So just be aware, right? That you always have to go through these 3 phases, right, in your life. Right. Okay. So let's move on to this next new fad hype, right? Which is blockchain, and which is, everything what you have, right? So what are we talking about, right? Talking about Upland today. Yeah. So first of all, when you have a deck, when you want to explain stuff to people, you always first explain what's actually the problem. You can do that also for Upland. I'm going to come to that. We are a game, but also a game solves some kind of a problem. Part of the problems, what we say is, when you're young, and most of you have probably played Roblox, I assume, right? Or maybe Minecraft, yeah. Or when they were very young, maybe they played with Lego, right? So, but you're growing out of that, right? And a certain, 18, 19, you're not playing that much of Lego. Of course, some people continue to play, and you maybe have some collector's items still, but you're still less doing it. So what we basically say is that when people are growing out of Roblox, right, then what are they doing then, right? So they're used to do now, they're used to 3D environments, they're used to socialize there and all that stuff. Where are they going? And this is then somehow the opportunity, the market opportunity, right? Where we say, okay, we have to build something for mature or grown-up players, right? Where, where they can use gameplay, which becomes more valuable over time, because it's not just entertainment value. People only want to extract maybe something else, which is monetary value out of it, right? Because time is important. And that is actually where we say we want to create what is called, and I explain that a little bit later, a GameFi, which stands for gaming and financial platform, right? For grown-up players, with the right combination where you play, you earn maybe some money, and of course you can socially interact. Yeah. And what I'm talking about here is Upland. This is what we do. And I'm going to show you now a quick video, so you have, hopefully the sound comes across. What are we doing? What we're doing is building, really, our mission is to build the largest digital economy. And I think this is now, wait, the videos comes live. And just a quick overview, we sold over 6 million NFTs. Right, today, Upland is really the largest GameFi Web3 platform out there. We could also say that we are a metaverse, right? We have over 3 million accounts. We raised almost $30 million, and we're based here in Silicon Valley, obviously, also. Yeah. So, okay, now here comes the video.
You've seen the llama, you've seen the hype, you've seen Upland, and now it's time to jump in. So what is Upland? Upland is the super app that is powering an ecosystem of players, creators, developers, entrepreneurs, and brands in the open metaverse. It is fast becoming the central home and hub for many diverse communities and players to elevate their digital life. Technology is changing the way we interact with each other, the things we do online, the economy. Technology is changing it all, and Upland is at the forefront of that change. The Upland Metaverse is a new land of opportunity, creativity, and diversity. Upland is a global community of players from all over the world, and we're on a mission to build the largest open digital economy where people can choose from a wide variety of possibilities. Racing, esports, music, and even football communities are coming together in Upland and creating deep connections with each other and brands in a way that's never been possible before. Upland empowers players to pursue their passions and build their lives and businesses, all with true ownership. In Upland, anyone can buy, build on, and flip virtual real estate. Players can collect and sell sports memorabilia from their favorite athletes. They can build their dream house or a factory. They can even create a business with Upland Meta Ventures and sell their digital assets to others. Players can own, drive, sell, and race the car of their dreams. They can explore games and experiences that use Upland as a discovery gateway and connect to its economy. Players can collect, sell, and show off artwork, connect and socialize with old and new friends, and so much more. In Upland, we really are creating for the open metaverse together and rebuilding the world block by block, and we're doing it with creators and players just like you.
All right. Just curious question, did the sound come across, Kevin? Yeah? All right, awesome. All right. So yeah, so that's how we got started with Upland, right? Everyone knows the game Monopoly, right? The board game, and and in 2018 we sat together, right, to say, what if we take the idea of Monopoly, the inspiration, because that's something everyone has played in his childhood, right? So it's nothing what you need to explain to people, right? We say, hey, we're taking the idea of Monopoly, we're taking the real world. Everyone says, okay, I understand that, and then we're adding it on top of blockchain, right? And why blockchain? Because with blockchain, we convey true ownership, which is very important, right? When you think about today, when you have Roblox or Fortnite, right? When you have items there, you can buy them, you think you own them, but Roblox can take them away from you every day, right? That's possible, yeah, but not with blockchain, obviously. And that is somehow something new. And that's how we got started. Back in 2018, we launched in closed beta. In 2019, we had this property trading game. So all you could do basically at the beginning, purchase a little bit of land, and then trade it with the others, and build some structures on top of it. Obviously Monopoly. So here's exactly how it works, right? So you can download Upland on iOS and Android, which makes it also very unique on blockchain. Also on the web, you get a map, as you can see here. And as I said, we're based on the real world, but we have not opened the whole world. And you don't need to be in a city. So San Francisco or New York, they are open. Right, I heard there's some people from Australia here. Unfortunately, we're not yet open in Australia, but you don't have to be there to play, right? It's just the cities we have opened in there. Yeah. So then you start zooming in. Yeah. Then you see here, and for instance, this is Manhattan or New York. You zoom a little bit further in, and then you see a little property. You see people are building houses here, and then you click on the little square, and then you can buy this property. So New York, like in real life, is a very expensive place, right? So we have an internal currency called Apex. You get $1 for 1,000 Apex. When you sign up for the first time in Upland, you get actually a credit of 4,500 Apex, unless maybe sometimes you come through a different promo code, so maybe get a little bit more. And then actually can go and purchase this land. This is very expensive because 7.5 million Apex means it costs $7,500. So most of you probably cannot afford it. But we have also areas like Detroit where you can buy a land for $1 or $2, right? That these exist, right? But it's not just, that we're taking money. We give you also the opportunity to earn money back, and we explain that in a second. Yeah. So, but Upland is today so much more, right? First of all, you have your identity, right? Your avatars you can elect. We're using what is called Ready Player Me, which you can use, right? We have little game pieces. These are the duck, what you can see there, right? It's basically your little game piece. And then you can do, and then you see all the little videos on the bottom. On one hand, you can maybe have a like a 3D room where you go and meet with other people. Then we have a collection game, right, where you collect properties and, you trade them, very much like Monopoly. Then you customize, with others' neighborhoods, you make them look nice, can chat with others. We have a football game in there, variables, like a gorilla, if you want to go as a gorilla, right? We have shops, where you can actually go and sell your digital items, or you can do car racing. And there's much more. And I'll explain that in a second, right? But it never gets boring in Upland. Yeah. So, and what is also very important is for us that we have a very engaged community. So here you see an event in Las Vegas, where people from all around the world, even Australia and Japan, they all flew in, right, to be together to celebrate that. We do that once a year, and that's a really, really, really cool event. So that is very important. What we are about. It's also having the community there. So, but at the end of the day, is everything I want to create content. Yeah. So that is our vision is to build, one of the largest user-generated content engines, right? And then what can you do with the content? I come to that also a little bit later. But once we have, first of all, the people who are in our ecosystem are the entrepreneurs, the digital entrepreneurs, people who are creating stuff and selling their items to others. Or on the bottom, we're working with brands, right? So with FIFA, with all the goals for Messi, NFLPA, and what have you. And when you're an entrepreneur, you have maybe a goal, like a video, and you want to put that in your store and you sell it or resell it to others, right? So you can actually make money because maybe you won that you won that video somewhere, and now you can actually go and sell it maybe for a higher price because obviously when you're the first owner, you can maybe increase the price, but you can also create your own assets. And then we have actually artists and creators. What do I mean? You take a Photoshop, Blender, you create assets, and then we have developers. So we have a third-party developer platform with APIs where now others can connect their apps to Upland. So it's not us, but it's others doing it. And what is now so different is now that we actually allow the third-party developers to have their own look and feel. So what happens now is that when you're a user, you go into one property and then you enter a different world. But what is new now that you can take your avatar with you, your identity, or you can take your assets with you and use those assets in the other world, right? Play with them and show yourself, whatever, right? And then you can always come back. Yeah, so which makes it a little bit more like open, right? So that's the first thing, and we have lots of developers. You saw the football game, for instance. That was actually one example, but we have a few other exciting games there. So, and that's what we said from day one. We want to build Upland actually for the mass market. 1 second. So we want to build it for the mass market, and so that's why we launched on mobile first, right? It's super easy to use. You don't need to deal with with private keys and wallets and so on. Everything, we handle everything for you, even though we don't have access to the private keys. Yeah. And we want to hide the crypto mechanics. That's the idea. Then you can actually put dollars in, but you can sell all the digital items you have. You can sell them also for US dollars to others, right? That's how you can make money. Yeah. And of course, what is very important for us being US company, we're regulatory. Everything we do is very regulatory compliant here with the local laws. Yeah, so that is very, very important. What we also say is, you really don't need a headset, but people always associate, metaverse, you need to run around with a headset. I have one here. I have the Meta Quest, for instance, but you don't need that in Upland to play, right? You just use your phone device and you do that. And like this, we see that we have a lot of users who are not really the hardcore crypto people, right? They even don't own NFTs outside of Upland. Yeah. Good. Oops, wrong direction. So, and the result is now what you see is actually that we are, by far the largest Web3 metaverse platform out there. So if you take Sandbox, Decentraland, and other side together, right, we're still, 5 times larger than they all together. What is also important, and I mentioned it a little bit, with our third-party developer platform, is that we are a big believer, and this is the paradigm shift. We don't want to be, the next Roblox or Fortnite, which locks users in. we want them, and this is the, the novel thing about the blockchain, we want them actually to leave our land and maybe come back, right? That is very important. And that's why we're driving so-called thought leadership. So I co-founded and I'm chairman of OMA3, which stands for Open Metaverse Alliance for Web3, where I'm working actually with Sandbox, Animoca Brands, Dapper Labs, Yuga Labs. So we're all working together to create interoperability standards, because it's not that easy, right? Because when you have maybe one world, you look different in one world and you need to transfer your item, your identity, right, into the other world. And that's always challenging, right? So you have to do that. I also wrote a book called Navigating the Metaverse, which was a bestseller on Amazon, where we explain the basics and understandings. And we have also started something which is called the Species Foundation, not really Upland, but this is something where we want to create life, like dogs, plants, trees, whatever, right, in the metaverse. And we this has launched right now. And there's also something special, how we can represent life in the metaverse. So we are very, what's very important for us that we also, support the real world, right? So for instance, we are completely we don't want to, be negative, carbon negative in a sense, right? So in the sense, we want to be decrease our carbon footprint. Let's say it like this, right? And the best case is, we want a really climate positive network, right? So that's one thing we're doing. We're supporting UNICEF, we're supporting Ukraine, and lots of other initiatives, right, to do good in the world. Okay, then a quick outlook. So we have a token and, of course, an AI strategy. We had the AI strategy long before, became totally hyped. But, it's clear, for the metaverse or for gaming, you can use it a lot. First of all, when I mentioned before, Upland, as of now, does not have a token you can trade on an exchange, right? There's no token on Binance or whatever, right? And the reason for that is because of regulatory compliance, right? However, we are working right now to make one of our tokens, which is called Spark, tradable on exchanges. Yeah. So the idea is we already have 140,000 token holders, and you need Spark in Upland, which is a token, when you want to build and want to manufacture items. When you want to build a house, you need to stake Spark. And the more you stake, the faster you build. You can also stake for your friends, right? Or when you want to manufacture items. Yeah. So, but right now you cannot trade those tokens within Upland, and we want to allow that. People can actually export them. They export them as Sparklet, right? Because right now, one Spark costs a little bit less than $500, right? And that's very expensive. We say, okay, let's divide it by 1,000, and then you get to Sparklet, right? And we put that onto Ethereum, right? But we build everything really regulatory compliant. But the main thing is really that we want to, we have a big utility behind it, right? It's not just a token, for speculations. No, people really needed to build something in Upland, right, to use it. So that's the first thing. The second thing, part of our strategy, is also that we want to, I mentioned it before, we want to create really this leading user-generated content engine who uses generative AI. I mean, AI will be all over Upland. So first of all, we used it internally. What you see there on the right is what we're currently running is a totems project. That's a fun project where people actually have to feed totems, and they have feed them in the right amount, right? When they feed them the right amount, they actually earn more of what is called Protem, which is a currency. They earn that back. So it's very gamified. So, but when you overfeed it, you lose it, right? When you underfeed it, you lose it as well. So it's very our community really enjoys that. But we had to create those assets, and those assets were actually 2D assets, and we used then software to make 3D assets out of it. Yeah. But in the future, we clearly see that our users will be using it to create, spaces. They will create, their own fantasy cars and what have you, right? So that is very, it's very encouraging, because now we democratize really the content creation. And Spark or Sparklet will be the underlying business model. And when I say we're going to go beyond Upland, it means also that, you don't have to just produce this for Upland. Maybe in the future you can create it for any metaverse, right? So that's a little bit the strategy here. And this is part when we call it also our magic triangle, right? So we use AI to democratize content creation. Anyone can create, right? That's the first thing. Then we have blockchain, right? So you truly own the assets, right? So you can buy them and sell them, whatever you want to do. And then we have the metaverse, where actually you can go and show them. right? And the metaverse goes for us beyond just, 3D spaces. In the future, since we're based on the real world, I spoke actually at a different panel this morning, was the question in the panel. We see also a future where you walk around with your maybe your augmented reality glasses and you see, an overlay of the world, and you can maybe, hey, I want to buy this virtual good or want to sell it, or you can do stuff with it, right? So it's going to be lots of fun, what we have as a vision here. So maybe just a quick summary then, right? So we started in 2020. We've built out really this infrastructure, right, with the vision, to have something for grown-up players, right? We had a lot of cities. We're currently live in 30 cities, mainly in the US, but also in Brazil. We have 3 cities open. Berlin is open, and Tokyo, right? So, but we're going to open more also in Asia, also in India, right? Of course, this is a strategy. This morning I participated in a panel in India. Want to drive that further. Then actually in 2022, we started out building out the ecosystem. I mentioned then, the entrepreneurs, creators, brand partners, and developers, right? And now we're really establishing the platform where we have third-party apps coming in, the interoperability, AI, what I mentioned, and the tradable token. So this is a little bit the way where we go. Good. So that was already it. Maybe there are now some questions about Upland or about entrepreneurship, and I'm happy to respond to them or whatever you have on your mind.
Sagar, is there any questions in the chat?
Yeah, sorry. There's a couple on that got sent in through the form. So one of them was just, what do you think your biggest breakthrough was when developing Upland in the first place, and like a challenge that kind of opposed you and one that you had to put a lot of work into to break through?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, we started, so maybe give you maybe one step back. So I'm in the blockchain space since 2011, right? So I read the white paper and all of that, right? So, and then we also developed the technology first, right? So where I learned a hard lesson: when you're too early with some stuff, right, then it's tricky. But so that was one of the challenges we had from day one, right? The technical challenges in creating a mobile app for a blockchain-based application, right? And I think we managed actually that quite good. So that was the first challenge we had to solve. Then we had also, because from a technical perspective is we had the challenge, that we're building it on blockchain. Blockchain is a very young technology. So when you have a problem, usually, building stuff, and you have a problem, you Google it, and normally someone else had that problem before, and you find a solution, right? With blockchain, it's a little bit different, right? Very often it's just a void, right? There's no one who has ever seen that problem before, and you have to solve it yourself. So also at the beginning, we had some scalability problems, because when we are opening new cities, right? We just recently, this week, we opened up Tokyo, a little bit more of Tokyo. There's super high demand, right? And we are minting then 60 NFTs per second. Yeah, so that's really a lot. And then you have the systems who can work with that. Yeah. The other challenge was a little bit the conceptually. So when we sell now NFTs, the properties or virtual cars or whatever to our users, or our users sell to others, when you put it on the blockchain, you transfer the true ownership to users. Unfortunately, in gaming, you always have those people who want to cheat, right, and do stuff, right, which they're not allowed to do, because you always have to fight them somehow. If someone goes, with a fraudulent credit card or something, right? Or in Upland, you're not allowed to have 2 accounts, right? Only 1 account per person, right? It's just one part of our terms of services. So people are going against and exploiting they always find some loopholes which we always have to close. It's very normal in games, right? So, but when we give now true ownership, we cannot take away stuff from people, right? When I said earlier, right, when I'm Roblox, I can take away the stuff from you. Yeah. As Upland, we cannot do that, right? So what we figured then, okay, how, if someone really goes against our TOS or is really bad, sometimes they harass others and all that, right? So we decided, okay, you know what? We took our, inspiration of Monopoly, and, in Monopoly, you have to go to jail, right? When you do something bad, as we all know. And we did exactly that. So you see that in the background here, it's actually San Francisco, and Alcatraz, right? So Alcatraz was a former prison island, so we have that. So when someone is going against our rules, right, and because we cannot take away their assets, but we send them to Alcatraz, and then they cannot move around in Upland anymore, right? So you always have to be creative to finding new solutions, because you're dealing with blockchain and have to come up with something which was not done like this in any ways before. Hope that answers the question a little bit.
Yeah, thank you so much. And then just a quick follow-up, for me personally, going off of that creativity point, I read a little bit into you, and I know you like to call yourself like a serial entrepreneur. Like, what are some techniques you use to like generate ideas for companies when you start them? Or what are some brainstorming techniques that you like to use?
So, I mean, I walk around I talk to a lot of people, right? I get inspired, right? I listen to podcasts, right? And I'm very, obviously I'm a tech entrepreneur, right? I'm looking what is latest technology, trying to understand what kind of problem it solves and so on, right? And I think at the end of the day, it's somehow of a combination of everything, right? And then you just get inspired, and then you just have to do it. I mean, you have to test it, right? I mean, having an idea is easy. That's everyone can have an idea, right? But then the next step is to how to execute on that idea, right? So, but I think what I can recommend always, talk to people, if you have, talk to people who have maybe been entrepreneur before, right? And, ask them for their story. Do your market research. I mean, today with AI, use, just ChatGPT, you can do so easy market research, right? These days, right? Because you can just type in, okay, who has done this kind of app before where you solve blah, 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 solve a problem, and then it spits you out a solution. Like 2 or 3 years ago, that was not possible, right? You had to search the web and you didn't find it and so on, right? And but I think the what you have to mind, that what is different between an entrepreneur and an inventor, right? An inventor is a very technical person, right? They invent, a new method, to do something, or cryptographic standards or whatever, right? An entrepreneur is a person who's able to see, the connections between different things, right? He sees, okay, there's a market, people who are interested in it, there's a technology, right? And there's maybe, a new device who can support it, yeah? So entrepreneurs master, combination, right, what I always say, yeah, combination of different things, and then, they're successful or not. Right, more questions?
I think that was it. So, looks like we're just about time. So, thank you so much. If anybody else has any questions, feel free to message us, and we'll send them over to Dirk if possible. And yeah, thank you so much for your time and coming to present.
All right, I guess. Maybe I see you in Upland, huh? All right.